Hello, welcome to Web of Stories. My name is Melinda. It is Tuesday and I am here with a tag. But before I get into the tag, let me tell you the background with this one. This, as you can probably see from the title, is the booktube community joy and gratitude tag. 3 weeks ago, Pat at Book Chat with Pat put this video out to celebrate her hitting 2,000 subscribers, which is fantastic. Congratulations, Pat. No one deserves it more than you do. I was tagged in that original video and I actually filmed a video right away. And then I keep a calendar of when I have videos going up, and the first kind of spot I had I could put this up would be the day if you watch this, the day it drops, which is November 12th. I am filming this on November 10th. That's fine. I scheduled it, had it all ready to go, and then the world changed with the presidential election. And I had a number of videos ready to go that I filmed before that were going to go up after that, and it just feels very strange to put any of them up like that. So I am in the process of refilming a lot of them. But this one especially, I wanted to refilm because November 6th was not a good day for anybody. Even if you think it was a good day, it really was not a good day for you. Even if you think that was a wonderful result, you're not going to think that's a wonderful result in the very near future. But trying to find comfort was very difficult. Also, how to train your dragon is playing at no control. But what did bring me comfort was booktube, bookstagram, that community. There's a lot of overlap between those two communities for me. I'm so thankful for all of you being there and being so honest with your feelings and what you're going through as well. And so I just really felt like I should refilm this anyway with that sentiment behind it, because I am truly thankful for you all, and you guys do bring me joy even in the darkest of days, which I feel like we're in right now. But anyway, now that we have got that out of the way, this is the third time I've done this video. The first time was 3 weeks ago. The second time was a couple days ago and it didn't turn out right. So now I'm doing it again, and I actually got the books out again. So I'm a little more prepared to refilm this. So let's get started. There are, how many? There are 7 prompts plus tagging people, and Pat has broken them down with different topics. And the first one is joy. And each topic she has a little literary quote. So the first one is, let's be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom, by Marcel Proust. And the first prompt is, name an author whose books bring you joy, or discuss a specific book that makes you feel joyful. Honestly, so this was the book I chose originally, or the author I chose originally. It's not actually the book, it's the author. But right now I kind of feel like I need to change that to comfort, because this author has actually brought me comfort. And this is the book of this author that I'm currently reading. And that is Agatha Christie. If you follow this channel, you know that I am reading through all of Agatha Christie's books in roughly publication order. I do one a month. This is my book for Towards Zero, my book for November. There is going to be an adaptation of it coming out. And I started reading this Thursday, and it just felt, even though this is murder and it's like rich people behaving badly kind of book, it felt like a hug. And with Agatha Christie, I know people say she's formulaic, and she is. I mean, she wrote the formula, so there you go. But Agatha Christie gives us the assurance that everything is going to work out. Bad things happen, but things will work out. And if you've been on this channel, you've heard this before. 2017, I read nothing but romance novels because I needed to know there would be a happy ending. I'm past that. I know there's not going to be a happy ending because we know what we're getting this time. But I am very drawn to books, especially now, that things will at least work out, that those will be held accountable, and you get those in Agatha Christie books. So maybe, it's less joy and more comfort now, but the answer is still the same, and it's Agatha Christie. The next one is, discuss something about booktube that you find joyful. And there's a lot of things that do, but one thing that I really love about booktube is I love everybody's weekly and monthly wrap-ups. It's the chance, really, those are the videos where people really seem to tell you what they're reading and what they think of things, and you're kind of caught up in that way, but also you tend to get a window into people's lives. And I really enjoy that. It feels like you're talking with a friend. And that is something that you can't get for things on like Bookstagram or Book Talk. And I'm not huge into Book Talk, but in fact, I'm not even watching TikTok right now. But Bookstagram, which is great and has its points, it doesn't allow you that sort of familiarity that BookTube does, that I love so much, that you get so much in like weekly wrap-ups. So I'm all for the weekly wrap-up. Now we're going to move on to friendship. And our quote is not a surprising one. It is, "Kindred spirits are not so scarce as I used to think. It's splendid to find out there are so many of them in the world." Ella Montgomery from Anne of Green Gables. And discuss a book that focuses primarily on friendship. My first answer would be Anne of Green Gables, but Pat already got that one. So I thought, well, what's a book that focuses on friendship? And this is a book that's been sitting on my shelves for years, literal years. Oh, I don't have the date here. Literal years, and I just got to it this year, and it was fantastic. And that is Rules of Civility by Amor Towles. I have previously read Gentleman in Moscow and Lincoln Highway, so this was the one that I hadn't read. I do have a Table for Two upstairs, which I haven't gotten to. And this is a story. It's centered on a woman named Katie Content. But then she has these two friendships. So it's interesting. Now, this is a very realistic kind of friendship because these friendships aren't always healthy. One of her friends is really a piece of work, but it's through these friendships that she really grows as a person. And I really appreciated seeing it. This has become my favorite Amor Towles book. I'm kind of shocked that it took me so long to read it, but maybe just I needed to wait till the right time, and this was finally the right time. But this is a really good friendship focused book, but not always a friendship warm fuzzy focused book, but a realistic friendship book. So Rules of Civility. Now we're going on to laughter. There's nothing like deep breaths after laughing that hard. Nothing in the world like a sore stomach for the right reasons. And that's Stephen Chbosky, or Chbosky, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which is a book that I have not read but hope to read by the end of the year. Discuss an author or a specific book that makes you laugh. And this is a specific book, and this was a complete no-brainer for me. And I have had this book since it was released in 2002. I've actually bought this book within a week of it being released, and I bought it completely on the cover, but I've since lost the book jacket, so it's really not interesting to look at. But this is Lamb, The Gospel According to Biff, Christ's Childhood Pal by Christopher Moore. And the premise of this book is, you can tell how old this is because I have like my maiden name in here. The premise of this book is we're getting to the new millennium, and God has decided that we need to have another gospel. We need to just give the people something new. So he resurrects this guy named Biff. And no one's heard of Biff because Biff has been written out of the Gospels that we know already, but Biff was Christ's best friend and had been his best friend since they were children. So he resurrects Biff to write a new gospel of Jesus. And Biff was with Jesus the entire time, including those, 18 years that are not accounted for in the Bible. And the best way to describe this book is if you've ever seen a Farrelly Brothers movie, so that's like Dumb and Dumber, that kind of humor, but they did it about Jesus. It is freaking hilarious. I have reread this book several times in the last 22 years. I've done it on audio. I have reread my print book, and the humor holds up. It is not, so I can't say it's not offensive because I do think at times it is just generally offensive because it is potty humor, but it is not irreverent. Unless you're really touchy about your religion. And I have actually recommended this, well, it was in a book club that we had, and there was someone who was really touchy about religion, which at that point it's more about religion than faith, whatever. But most of the time, it's not gonna bother you at all. It's not irreverent. It is sometimes offensive. It is absolutely hilarious. Highly recommend it. I will be honest, this is the only Christopher Moore book that has ever worked for me, but it is one of my favorites. I wish I had the dust cover because it was really cool looking, but I don't. It disappeared in the last 2 decades, but that is Lamb, The Gospel According to Biff, Christ's Childhood Pal by Christopher Moore. Okay, Community. We cannot live only for ourselves. 1,000 fibers connect us with our fellow men. Herman Melville. Discuss a book where the idea of community is important. Again, this was a no-brainer. And if you watch my channel, this should not be a surprise because this is my favorite book, and that is Mink River by Brian Doyle. Mink River is a fictional community on the Oregon coast, set probably in the late 70s, early 80s. It never gives you a date, but by context, that's where it kind of fits in. And while it is fictional, it is very typical of towns on the Oregon coast at that time. And in this, we get to meet the people of the town and how they work to... Apparently, my son wants you to know what he thinks of this movie. He's seen it a bazillion times. Sorry about that. It talks about, everybody in the community, and there's very interesting characters. This, by the way, this is a crow named Moses. Moses is a talking crow, and not talking like parrots talk, like they just copy you. Like, you can have conversations with Moses. So there's an element of magical realism. He brings not just the environment of the Oregon coast to life, which he does perfectly, but he also just brings the people and how the town works. And you really see with all these different characters how the town works as an organism. I love this book. I recommend it all the time. I was so happy Ellen at LMA Book Club has picked this up. She got her library in Sweden to get this book, and then she checked it out, but she had to return it because somebody else wanted it. And while I'm sorry she didn't get to finish the book, I am beyond excited that there's more than 2 people in Sweden who want to read this book. It's from it's from the Oregon State University Press, so really small press. I'm just like, that just makes me happy. But yes, Mink River. Okay, and discuss a communal reading experience that you have had. So, before BookTube, I still am, but I have been doing book clubs for a long time. I am currently in 3, 2 in person, but really on Zoom, and 1 postal book group. And I'm toying with something else. So I've always had that experience, but I've never had, it wasn't until BookTube and recently in my BookTube life that I have started buddy reading, and that takes things to an entirely new level. And there's one buddy read that really sticks out in my mind, and that is earlier this year, I buddy read this book, The Wives by Simone Garindo, with Angela at Andy Hart's Books, she's not a channel, commenter, and Kim at Kim's Book Life, same deal. We read this book. Now, this is a memoir, and it is about a woman who is an army wife. Her husband joined the army a little bit, like he wasn't right out of high school. He was in his mid-20s when he joined the army. She was, I think, already had a graduate degree. She had a life in New York, everything going. So all that changed. She's not the most typical army wife, but still, it's a recording of her experience doing that. And what made this so fantastic is both Kim and Angela are former military wives. I think they were both Army too. I can't quite remember. Now, my mother was a military wife. Her first husband was in the Army. He was killed in Vietnam. And then my father was in the Air Force. So my mother was a military wife, but my father left the Air Force when I was a year old. So technically I'm an Air Force brat. But I don't have any recollection of that life. I only have her stories. And it was wonderful to read this and think of my mother's stories, and then also hear Kim and Angela's stories. It just made this such a wonderful experience. And if the stars ever align for you you can have a buddy read like that, do it. Drop everything else and just do whatever that book is and however the stars align, because it is amazing. So there you go. Buddy reads in general, but this one specifically. Okay. Gratitude. I can no other answer make but thanks and thanks. William Shakespeare from Twelfth Night, which is my favorite Shakespeare play if you've been watching The Bard Room. And this is name a book in which a character demonstrates real gratitude, or name a book that left you feeling a sense of gratitude. So I am going to take gratitude a little bit. I'm going to stretch it just a little bit, because this is not gratitude as people think of it. But I do really think at the core, this is gratitude. And this book, this was a 5-star book for me. I've read it back. I think it came out, let me look up the date here. I want to say 2012. I don't know if this book is still in print, but if you can find it, I highly recommend it. And this is The Voluntourist by Ken Budd. This is a memoir, and it starts with Ken Budd's 39 years old, and 2 things happen. First, his father, with whom he is very close and who is his role model, dies unexpectedly. Secondly, his wife, with whom he is very much in love, they have a very strong relationship, tells him she does not feel that motherhood is in the cards for her, that she does not feel that she wants to be a mother. She does not feel that is what she should be doing. And he had always envisioned a life of having children. So that is no longer a reality for him. He loves his wife. He's not going to leave her over this. You know, they are very much in love. So now he needs to find a new raison d'être, to say. So what he does is this thing called voluntourism, which is you go to different parts of the world on a trip and you volunteer in different things. So the subtitle of this is a six country tale of love, loss, fatherhood, fate, and singing Bon Jovi in Bethlehem. And this is 6 different voluntourism trips that he took. He went to New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. He taught English in Costa Rica. He worked with special needs children in China. He studied climate change in Ecuador, assisted refugees in the West Bank, and worked with orphans in Kenya. And so this book, I mean, even though he's going through this sort of at a point in his life where he's feeling a sense of loss, just the idea of giving back and that sense of gratitude that comes from it, I found so profound. So if you can find this book, it might still be in print, I don't know, but it is excellent. And it is The Voluntourist by Ken Budd. So now we're at the 8th question, which is to tag some other people. So when I originally recorded this, I pulled some sticks and I made sure that Pat had not already tagged them in her original video. I'm going to stick with the same 3 sticks. However, these people may since have been tagged by someone else, and I apologize if that is the case. And as always, you are not obligated. This is just an invitation. And if you haven't been tagged and you'd like to do it, consider yourself tagged. Tag me in your response so I can see it. But the ones that I have pulled are Jolene at Bookworm Adventure Girl, and every time I say her channel, it comes out Bookroom. It's Bookworm Adventure Girl. Erin at Erin Go Live, who, by the way, when I talked about buddy reads, she was part of my very first buddy read, which was East of Eden that I did with her and Marcella and her books. So there you go. And then Suey at Suey's Book Banner, who I know from way before BookTube. We were book blogging people. So yeah, if you have not already done this or not been tagged, there you go. Once again, I just want to thank you all for being there. You don't know what you have until you need it. And I needed you guys this week and you were there. So thank you all very much. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.